Unless there's some big...
He's got to go back
got
for
to
his
go back
spare
second
bike
bike
there, so they couldn't get it restarted. So Sam's got to go back. At least he hasn't got far to run.
Pol Espargaro top 10 in the last 2 sessions.
That's not what you really want to start your qualifying session off with. He's sat back in his box. He's like one of those dogs that's been sent back to the back of his kennel, isn't he?
Yes.
You know, you go and wait over there. And back he goes while they sort out their machinery.
I've never seen or heard anyone offer up a bet and retract it so quickly as Jules.
Well, I said it's long odds. I need odds on that. That's not an even bet, Neil.
So, go on, who are your two then, Jules?
Well, obviously Dovizioso.
Okay.
I mean, you'd be a mug to bet against him, wouldn't you? It should be Iannone. It should be.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but
it should be.
I'm detecting the good old Iannone flakiness. So,
I'm going to have an Aleix for a blasting lap.
An interesting one.
For a one-lap smack.
That's the guy I was looking at. All weekend he has put some fantastic one-lap runs together.
That
have looked awful. When you see the bike move so much, God knows what it feels like sitting on it. I mean, that Aprilia is not working, is it?
No, we were talking about it.
I heard James. What James was saying was so right. It looks something basic like the offset, like the foot wheel's too far underneath, so it's twitchy and nervous. I don't know what's going on, but
it just looks like it's out of sync with the rear end. I mean, the transition from one, as it on and off the power through some of these corners.
This is Suda, the Japanese test rider for Suzuki, who is replacing Alex Rins.
Let's go down and hear what's going on with Sam Lowe's down in pit lane. Gavin's with him.
Yeah, it was weird. It was bogging, you could just see, and he got to the end of pit lane and it cut out some sort of issue electronic-wise. So now what they're having to do is switch the bikes over, basically. And Sam, frustratingly, he's had to take his helmet off, and he's going to have to go out on the spare bike. So, bit of frustration for Sam.
Don't quite understand while they are switching stuff around. This is qualifying. 2 bikes normally you would have in similar trim at this point, so I'm a bit disappointed in the fact that they're having to change the spare bike around to suit.
It's not like it's going to rain, is it?
No, that is my point. You would normally have 2 bikes, both of them warmed up, ready to go. With these 15-minute short shock qualifiers, you can't have a bike sitting there redundant.
Just
strange.
Sums up really what's been going on this season. And I know they haven't got a lot of spare parts, and they've got new things coming through all the time.
Just heard from pit lane they're switching fuel tanks,
which would make sense then.
Would make.
Yeah,
maybe they've got.
There's one fuel tank that he likes that's got different weight distribution.
Yeah.
And as we know, obviously speaking to Sam, he's still not comfortable on that motorcycle, so they're obviously trying something. So.
You see the fuel tanks.
It's all hands on deck there, anyway.
Yeah. Well, and remember, these are one-off parts, aren't they? Yeah. You know, they built this weekend. They'll have brought me a new fuel tank. Only one. Do you like it? Yes, I like it. Well, that's okay. And
this is prototype racing at the end of the day. We see Baz on top at the moment.
He's opened with a 40.5.
Tell you what, the Andrea Dovizioso thing, he's going to have a bit of a struggle. He might end up on the 5th row of the grid or worse.
Iannone opens with 39.
Oh, there we go. Dobby's gone into. He's gone up to 5th quickest in this session. Aleix, come on, boy. Aleix has got himself into 2nd place at the moment. Iannone is on top. So the 2 of the guys that we were talking about. Look at Darth Vader.
I like them. They're the best. They've won the award for the helmet.
The silly hat competition winners are Suzuki.
And the worst of Rossi's team, aren't they? That look like minions. Brilliant.
Lego men. They are allowed 6 helmeted helpers during qualifying, only 4 during flag-to-flag races. That's the new rules regarding people in pit lane. Sam just trying to keep himself calm. He's going to unleash a lot of adrenaline when he gets out on this racetrack, that's for sure.
One man we didn't mention is Alvaro Bautista,
yes,
who's done a good lap. Fantastic.
I was looking for my excuses.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic this year. You know.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Look at Brad. Look at Bradley.
What's he done so far this?
Bradley's on an estimated by the computer. If he gets this 4th sector running.
Bradley messed up 1 sector this morning, the last sector. And
Here he
was
comes
on
to
for
38.
a top 10.
And Paul's chasing him, and he's on for a pole lap.
On the last,
we're going to eat our words here, aren't we, Julian?
Last corner, KTM getting it together. They're on the Big Bang now as well. They've gone away from the Screamer. I think they're all on the Big Bang. There goes Bautista top, Iannone 2nd, and Bradley Smith goes into 3rd after Pol Espargaro just takes him out of 2nd place seconds after Bradley Smith completed his lap. Iannone quicker, 39.2. That's getting
Dovi 39.28.
Yep. as we
That's more
should
like
have
it.
expected from him. 39.28. What did he do in
Dobby?
practice proper? It was
Aleix.
39.8.
Sorry, Aleix.
Aleix got top.
Oh.
So the two that we thought. Tell you what, that 39.1, that's a time from Aleix Espargaro, isn't it? 39.6 is the fastest he's been this weekend so far, so he's knocked half a second off.
I wish we were treated to see that lap, because
That would have been scary.
Yeah, what we've seen him do in this motorcycle, you should not be doing. We were saying again off air, the problem for Sam is he comes in, he sees his data, and then watches what Aleix is doing, and you think, is that what I have to do to get this motorcycle around? I mean, the thing's hopping and skipping and looks terrible.
So, Aleix Espargaro, that one lap that we thought he was capable of, he has just stuck in. He'll have another go at it with new tyres in a minute. 8 minutes of this first qualifying session. Qualifying 1 still to go. We've got qualifying 2 for the top 10 finishers from free practice 1, 2 and 3. There's Petrucci.
Sam Lowes has got out of the pits.
Oh, hang on a minute. We're going cycling, or are we...
Is it a best beard competition?
You should be in there, Jules. You've not stopped playing with
the
yours
best
today.
beard is in the Pramac pit, but we haven't seen it.
Oh, Sam's team are in the doghouse for not wearing their helmets. Have you seen the helmets of the...
I've not seen the
team?
Aprilia ones, no, but like I say, so far the Suzuki ones have won the competition, I'd say. This will be interesting. Let's hope it shows Sam for a lap. Just watch his bike. Watch how nervous it looks on the front as we cut to pit lane.
Has he been talking about that new aerodynamic package that he's got?
I've not had a chance to speak to him about that yet.
There it is. You can see the great big scoops in the front of that Aprilia. He's the one running it.
He had a really good test, this week in Le Mans, and came here with a lot more confidence. Said for the first time the bike felt like his, which is good through there.
Yeah, that was properly spinning there, wasn't it? That's the other thing we've noticed. The Aprilias really do spin up the rear end. They're properly lively at the rear. Come on, boys, get that wheel out. So, new tyres for the second go here at Jerez. 2.7 miles of this Jerez de la Frontera. One of the oldest tracks on the calendar, unchanged. Assen and Jerez de la Frontera, the oldest two. Fantastic racetrack for motorcycles. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Cool there.
Well, unchanged, Keith, because it's just they got it right
just
the first time.
Yeah.
There was that early modification from the chicane onto the back straight to open up the Cito Pons corner, just to be strictly historically pedantic, inaccurate.
Usually,
shoot us down. Thanks.
Usually changes are made just to make them safer.
And it made it better.
Which is unusual.
The whole character of the track.
They took a chicane out to add a flowing corner, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of what we see a lot in the UK.
Absolutely.
Okay, Sam.
It looks a long way off, obviously 1.9. This is his first flying lap,
Yeah.
so
So
don't judge him just yet.
No, and Sam's job, as we've been saying all weekend, get to the flag, no crashes, point or two in the bag, would be a really, really good weekend's work.
But to level that up just a little bit, it's a nightmare when you see your teammate going through. So Sam Lowe's 141.7. How does that look compared with his time? 140.5 is what he did in free practice 3 earlier today. So for an opening lap,
that'll do. Looks confident.
We know he's on his second bike. It might not be. Just give him that feel. It might be a slightly different chassis. We don't know. This is all stuff like.
You rather suspect so, the way Aprilia are updating things at the moment.
Yeah.
Tito Rabat is having a reasonable weekend,
Bit
isn't he?
perky,
Back
isn't
in
he?
Spain, and he seems to be quite happy on the Honda.
Actually, he's having the best weekend I've seen him on a MotoGP bike, really.
Absolutely. He's 12th in free practice 3.
And he scored points, Keith, in all 3 races.
So keep an eye out for Rabat. He's 7th in this session at the moment. What tyres have we got on? Dobby went with a medium soft. So did Rabat. Gigi Dell'Igna looks on Ducati's general manager.
Just looking
That is a hell of an eyebrow, isn't it?
Just the one.
Thank you for that.
Sam is on personal best again, I hope on his second lap, Neil. Both sectors are personal best. First 3 sectors are personal bests. He's 1.2 off at the 3/4 point. I'll keep an eye on his times.
Not mentioned this man, have we, much?
No, not at all.
Petrucci.
But Petrucci's been off the radar a bit this weekend so far. On the 2017 Ducati, remember? Lorenzo got his to work brilliantly in FP3. But now it's up to Petrucci and Dovizioso to join him if they can. I don't think Petrucci has the pace to be able to dump.
Ooh.
He is a headbanger and a tank banger.
Well,
40.9 for Sam.
I like that though. He's the man who's in control of the motorcycle is blaming the motorcycle.
Let's have a look.
It's a strange one.
It is an odd one.
As his leg flicks, I don't know what.
What's that about?
Yeah. I do know that feeling though. He's so frustrated, and he knows obviously he's got one more lap now, basically, because he's sat in third place if he wants to get through to qualifying 2.
He's only 17 thousandths behind Dovizioso, by the way.
Yeah. But Iannone is the pro. He's hired by Suzuki to do the job, whatever the bike's doing, and needs to get around whatever problems it's got. Frustration usually means you go slower.
Yeah. Well, you
Very
try
true.
harder.
Yeah, and you override the
Do you
thing.
know, one of the things that stood out about this track, Zarco told me, he said the key to this track is not to brake too late, because it flows. And the problem is, when you get frustrated, you try and gain a metre or so on the brakes.
Try to pinch a bit here and there.
And then you rush the corners.
And Iannone's a bit that way anyway.
Yeah.
That being greedy, you guys always talk about.
Well, I think it's you try to take too much out of the bit that you're good at, without linking up the bits that you're perhaps not quite so good
Exactly
at.
what you're told not to do on a track.
Well, that's exactly right. Have you been on a track, David Hodgie?
No? With Ron Haslam.
Oh, legend. Not that you're not.
Bradley
by the
to
way.
4th in the session.
Yeah, Bradley's looked good in this session, right the way through. So a good lap from Bradders.
It's now a 39.3 for Bradley.
What does that compare with earlier on? Bradley 39.3. That's 6 tenths
That's
quicker
faster
than he's been in.
Here we go,
FP3.
boys. Watch this man. He's trying. Everything we were talking about, the bike moving. Look at it. It's never stable at all.
He's on the end of the lap, and here we go. Alacia Spargo is under his own time at the top here. Gets it set up beautifully for this front straight. Alacia Spargo then looking to go through to qualifying 2. 139.9 it was. He just lost a bit of time, did he? No, he gained
no,
it.
he improved fractionally,
2 tenths
Keith.
under. Sorry, I was looking at the top there.
Petrucci came through for second.
Knocked Dobby out.
On the 2017 bike, so the man who won the Scott Redding-Petrucci battle for the 2017 Ducati,
Iannone and Pol are both on absolute flyers.
Paul on the KTM.
Oh.
The KTM boys must be doing cartwheels. They were 3 seconds off in Qatar. That engine has made such a
Unbelievable.
difference. We knew it'd make a
To the
difference.
rideability
but
of the bike.
Exactly, but not to this extent. It's like they've found a second in between races.
Yeah.
Wait a minute though. Maniac Joe is on it, making that Suzuki scream. He's got a clear track in front of him. With a bit of luck, he's not going to be held up here through the last sector. He comes. Blast through those last 3 right-handers. Spectacular. If you ever come here, there's a grandstand just there that you can watch from above the Red Bull sign. Down into Lorenzo corner then. Turn 13. Can he get it stopped and stay on it? Oh, it's a shame we went here, but Pol Espargaro went over in 4th place in this session, which is great. But what about Iannone? Drives a long way up the hill then, under the spaceship and the line.
Yes.
Goes top, 38.9. That is a great time, 38.9. It's only 4 tenths off what Danny Pedrosa did in free practice 3.
Only 0.02 quicker, though, than Alacia Spargaro.
Which is remarkable on
Which
the
is
Aprilia.
a superb bit of
Yeah, he's
riding.
man of the match so far. isn't he?
Completely, no argument. But Petrucci's about to ruin the fairy story.
Could be. Dovizioso is. Where's the checker flag? Coming out in 25 seconds. So he's going to
One
get
more
another
lap.
go at it, Dovi. He may well just be able to pinch this if he can find a lap out of it. But right when you need it, it's going to be down to gritting your teeth and getting on with. Dovi goes through. Iannone's on another fast lap in the first sector, but it looks like it's gone away in the second.
Petrucci's lap went away as well.
Well, this has been a lively old qualifying. Oh, Dovi's out of it.
Wow.
That's done it for Dovi. He starts on the 5th row of the grid
Flags
then.
out, Keith. Flags out.
Well, no, I thought he got under it.
Dobby's going to be on the 6th row until now, because Dobby's 4th in this session.
But they're obviously
Whoa.
out of it because they...
No, it's 5th row. The top 2 will go into the 4th row.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
Sorry.
the next
Yeah, yeah.
3 will be.
Sorry,
Dovi's
Keith.
in the middle of the 5th row. But the flag was out, but I thought he got under it. What happened there?
I hit traffic. There was people all over the track.
So they were all dawdling and he lost his lap.
That's what it looked like when we cut back to a group.
Look at Iannone, no one's told him yet. He's got a clear
It's
track.
all right, you're in.
He's already in. I'll tell you, that's a result for Suzuki.
That's pulled the bits out of the fire, that has.
Not quite as big a result as Alacia Spargo going through.
No, indeed. Pol and Bradley, 5th and 6th in that session.
Pretty impressive.
I'm impressed with KTM again.
Yeah. Good to see that bike working on a track like this.
Isn't it?
Iannone over the line then. Brivio. Yeah, job well done, Suzuki. Job well done, Iannone.
Not
He's
happy,
a boy.
though.
He's a boy, isn't he?
He is a piece of
I
work.
think he waves his hands about like that when he's happy, as well as when he's unhappy.
Well, it's tough times, isn't it, if you think about it, for Suzuki now.
They've lost Maverick. He was
Yeah,
the
they've
boy.
lost Maverick. Rins is obviously injured. Their number 2 rider. And in a way, the young kid they were pinning their hopes on to be the next Maverick. So, really tough times.
Can't wait to see Ginter's on it, though, at Le Mans.
Yeah.
That's good afternoon out. So, Iannone goes through to qualifying 2. Aleix Espargaro goes through to qualifying 2. And the rest, the Petrucci, Dovizioso, Pole Espargaro will be row 5. Smith, Bautista, Rabat, row 6. Row 7 is Abraham. Baz. Oh, he underachieved there, didn't he, Baz? He looked better than that throughout the weekend so far.
In the wet he was, Keith.
Yeah, OK, I'll go with that.
Look at Sam, 1.29 off, and he beats Tsuda, the Suzuki's Japanese test rider.
That's how it looks then. Qualifying 1 is over and done with. And coming up is qualifying 2. Can it be any more exciting?
Well, there's all sorts of frustrations and emotions in that one, particularly from the number 29 of Iannone, who managed to get through there, James.
Yeah, I don't know why, since he was at number 1. I don't think the Suzuki's doing what he's wanting it to do at times, and I think that's where you're seeing the frustration from him. But hopefully, to get into the 38s, that is very, very fast. The top boys might be getting into the 37s, but a 38 will probably get you into the top 10 in Q2.
And you've got to think that now they've had that experience out there, they're fresh going into this next session, which happens really quite quickly. They have that advantage, don't they?
They do, because they have the advantage of their brains used to going that speed, and also they're used to how much grip you've got at the moment in this temperature. The track temperature, I suppose, has still crept up a little bit more, so all that experience is going to come in 10 or 15 minutes time, and they can put it straight onto the track again, where the other guys have got a little bit more time to get up to speed.
That frustration, though, that Iannone shows. At 1 minute, he's hitting the bike, he's stomping everything, he's nearly punching himself in the face with frustration. Then he goes out and does a really, really fast lap. That's an incredible difference of emotion, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's why we see the inconsistencies maybe that we see from him, and the decisions that he makes. You've just seen him into turn 2 here, but look at that animation. If you can see the animation like that from the TV, I know exactly what he's saying to himself inside that helmet, and it may be a bit too extreme.
It's easy to imagine, isn't it, really? But, the point is to go from being het up like that, when you do something wrong, you get really annoyed with yourself, to then be calm enough to go out and do the lap that he did, because have I got that wrong? Have you got to be calm to put in a quick like that, or can you be angry and still put in a fantastic lap?
It's controlled frustration, always, and aggression with motorcycle racing. You've got to have that aggression to actually do the lap time anyway, but it has got to be controlled. It's 3.5 miles roughly around here. To get every single corner right for 3.5 miles and to go within 0.2 of a second, you can tell how much concentration that needs, and to have that much concentration needs that calmness as well.
And Aleix Espargaro putting in a great lap now. Not a surprise. It was a good battle, though, wasn't it, really, to get into that top 2, to go through to Q2, because against Dovizioso, you would have put your money on him.
Amazing result, to say how much quicker than he is than his teammate just shows you just how good a rider this rider is, Aleix Espargaro, on that bike. It doesn't look like it wants to do things he's wanted to do with it, obviously. See a lot of wheel spin, so there's not much traction on the rear, and then the front looks like it's a bit nervous, so for him to just grit his teeth. But Aleix has always been good at that on the Suzuki, and even on the forward racing Yamaha that he was on. Very, very good at just doing that one lap. It's a different story tomorrow, though, doing it every single one.
Good for the team, though, isn't it, to sort of get that place in the sun and get that feedback and get that data. Good. When you see Sam's bike going out there, it feels like it's all over the place. It looks so unstable, doesn't it?
It is. I think the lack of experience Sam Lowes has on a MotoGP bike compared to Aleix, I think that's really showing now. Aleix, like I was saying, the brain's used to that. Like we were talking about before Q2 and Q1. Aleix's mind is used to doing 38s around this particular track, so he knows how to get a bike around this track at that speed. Sam doesn't, so I think he's just riding on that at the moment, even if the bike's not really capable of it. But again, to do that every single lap in a race situation is a different story.
A great show from Bradley Smith as well there. Really seeing him taking steps forward, aren't we?
Both KTMs and Paul Espargaro putting a fantastic time in towards the end, low 39s. That is great times around this particular circuit, and like Neil was saying on the comms, where they were a few races ago, to come here and get that close to the top guys is, I hope it can just carry on and they can get close to battling some points regularly.
Well, as we're talking about the British boys, it seems like a good point to tell you about the British Talent Cup that was launched on the 5th. And you can apply now, entries are open, and you can have a look at their website. Here are the British boys to tell you all about it.
want to be one of us.
So do you think you have what it takes?
British talent, we have it. Do you?
The British Talent Cut begins next year.
Applications open on the 5th of May and close on the 18th of June.
Find out more on BritishTalentCup.com.
Fly here to be part of it for the 2018 season. So what are you waiting for?
So if you ride a bike to a good level and you're born between 2001 2005, have a look at the BT Sport website. All the details are on there for you. So Jack Miller having a good start to the season, has been going well so far this weekend. We can catch up with his camp now. Gavin is with Michael Bartolini.
Yeah, just in front, and you can see Jack just getting himself limbered up at the back of the garage. It has been a great start to the season. But here, a really good weekend. He's been right in those top spots. We know the Honda seems to be working well, but Jack's made a step this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, sure. There is a step. You know, we finished the first 3 races in the points. I'm quite happy with the performance. I always said that if you have a private team and you can finish in the top 10 every weekend, this is already something. But so for me, it was a surprise here. You know, in the wet condition on Friday morning, he was really fast and. Somehow he take it over to the Friday afternoon. We was there as well, and we make a second position, you know. So, yeah, it was until now it was a quite good weekend for him.
It's first time he's ever been straight through into Q2 in fully dry conditions. What can we expect from him now during qualifying?
Actually, I think that we can raise the pace a little bit. You know, there was still 1 or 2 small mistakes this morning in FP3, but. It is also a little bit, when you go directly straight into it, is always a little bit also this nervous aspect that you will take with you, and you need to have also a clear line, not to wait on people, nobody that will be maybe in the way. But I think if we can make a good one, I would be happy with an 8 or 9 position. You know, we cannot now expect to be more in the front, but it would be already a good step, because starting position is important, you know, because we lose always quite big gap in the first 2 or 3 laps in the race. And if we could go from the 3rd row, I would be very happy.
It'd be great to see. He's got his helmet on now. Thanks, Michael. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Gavin. Good insight there. Great setup, that team. Offering good support to Jack Miller, aren't they?
They are, and they're having a great time at the moment with the Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP guys. So I think it'd be a really good ambience, and Michael seems to have the right approach to what to expect from someone like Jack. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, he really is. And here we are then live from Jerez de la Frontera for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's qualifying day today, and we're looking inside the Yamaha garage at Valentino Rossi's camp. There he is, the man himself. This is the man that's leading the World Championship, can you believe, at the age of 38. Stunning stuff to be at this level after all of those years. It really is extraordinary. And he hasn't won a race so far this season, but he's been there on the podium, picking up the pieces when other riders have slid off.
His consistency is second to none. The field that he's racing against, with Maverick Vinales as a teammate, Marc Marquez, Pedrosa all of a sudden has found the form as we saw in America. And they're going to have to be careful though, because these Tech 3 Yamahas look like they're really fast around here. And if these 2 guys get a tow for one of the fast boys, they could be taking some critical positions on the grid from the top guys.
Yeah, sitting 7th and 8th in the championship. Jonas Folger just 1 point off Zarco, I think it is at the moment. So close. And it's been Zarco stealing the headlines and stealing the commentary on track as well, really, with his antics. But both of them looking very strong, and they've both looked good here.
They have, and the Tech 2 Yamaha, I think, is looking like the best satellite team and satellite package to be on this year. It always changes, doesn't it, from the Hondas to the Yamahas, but the fact that Johan Zarco is on 2 fifth places in the last couple of races, and I love how he approaches his racing. He's calm, level-headed, and it's great to see a Moto2 champion doing very well from the off.
Well, yeah, this is going to be an exciting session. Pedrosa looking so hot. Marc Marquez and Lorenzo also been very strong this weekend. 15 minutes to get onto the front row then. That's what they're after. Sitting pretty in pole position right now, Jules, Neil and Keith.
Thank you very much, Susie. Thank you very much, James. Qualifying 2 then. Could it be... qualifying 2. Could it get any more dramatic than qualifying 1?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we're in for a treat.
Looking at the top 6 in free practice, Pedrosa, Lorenzo Vinales, Marquez, Rossi, Crutchlow. What more do you want to see?
What you want to see is a perfect lap. You want to see no interference from any other rider. You want to try and close it down. This is a real concentration job at this point. As you roll down pit lane to start your out lap, you're already lining yourself up for how you are going to go about this. This is where focus is everything. You've got to make it work. Probably got 2 or 3 good fast laps on a new set of tyres to do this, and then another go at it in the second half of the 15 minutes.
That's so right, and it's a combination. I mentioned it earlier about you can't be too aggressive on corner entries, so you have to be patient, you have to be precise. And this man, we know this man can do a lap in any track. I just don't know if he's going to do it today. I don't know if he's going to do what I just said, maybe be a bit too aggressive on corner entry and not put it together. I'm unsure.
Well, Honda have got a good backup if it doesn't work in Danny Pedrosa, who seems to be going exceedingly well through all 3 sessions that we've watched, 4 sessions in fact, that we've watched him so far. Pedrosa has the pace up to now.
I had a little stroll down the paddock at lunchtime, and that's exactly what mechanics and teams were saying. Danny here really should take this. And the word out of Honda was Mark is a little bit lost.
He spin that up when he tipped it on his side there. Sorry,
Scott spins everywhere.
Yeah. Redding was just a little lively at the rear end for a moment or two. That's Cal Crutchlow. Remains to be seen, Jules, doesn't it? Will Pedrosa manage to put it together?
Indeed.
What I said right at the beginning of this session was that focus, you need that to translate. You know what you've got to do. Your bike's already set for the job. You've got the right amount of fuel and brand new tyres in it. Now it's about putting that perfect lap together for pole position.
Indeed, and Crutchlow must not be discounted in any of our calculations.
I was just thinking exactly the same. Cal's been there or thereabouts around the top 4 all weekend.
Honda's working.
He looks good. This lap looks good. He's got a perfect, not a toe, a perfect marker of someone like Scott. Someone to aim at, someone to chase down.
In Scott Redding, just in front of him on the 45 bike. We cut back then to the 93 of Marc Marquez. Bit of onboard action. Let's have a listen. Okay, we won't.
That would have been the most perfect corner to listen to as well. That's why they spin it up out of 8.
But we're back with the 45 of Scott Redding, well on his fast lap now. Here comes Cal. I'll tell you what, Cal's building big time here. Be interesting to see how that is. He's properly into the last corner now. This is Jorge Lorenzo, turn 13, back down the gearbox. 40-odd mile an hour at the slowest part, maybe a little bit more. As we get onto the front straight, then wait for the line. It's under the spaceship. Oh, Crutchlow, 139.3. That's not a bad marker, but it's a way off of Pedrosa's 38.5 from free practice.
Let's get him round one more flying lap, Keith.
138.9. Marquez, 138.3.
38.3?
That's 2/10 quicker than anybody's gone so far, including his teammates. So look, Marc Marquez already sets a proper marker.
So all those people telling me it was a bit lost then over lunchtime, I'll ignore them for the rest of the year.
Maybe they said get lost.
That could have been.
Sorry, Jules.
What Pedrosa out of this last corner, that's been his strong sector. Let's see if he can do it over the line.
Oh,
first and second for Repsol Honda.
And Lorenzo third. Does that have the look of normality about it?
I'll tell you what does look good. Miller in there as well.
It certainly does. In fourth, Ionone's next along.
Rossi only ninth on his opening go.
Andrea Iannone, having struggled all through Q1.
Yeah, look at him now.
Is flying. Now, Vinales was late out of the pits.
And looked, I have to say, this man has looked frustrated through this weekend so far. And will Vinales recover? Yamahas don't seem to be working quite as well around here as they might have expected, as we might have expected. So, Cal Crutchlow, tell you what, this boy can ride a motorbike.
Oh, it sounds so good through there.
Here's Iannone, got himself a nice little toe in Jorge Lorenzo. They're swap bikes. And
there's some irony in there somewhere, folks.
There is, but I'm just not quick enough to find it at this point. Over the line goes Crutchlow, only fourth. He's on second row, front of the second row at the moment. Here comes Lorenzo, towing the Suzuki of Iannone. That's my bike you're on. Oh, Iannone beats Lorenzo onto the front row. Lorenzo gets pushed back onto row 2 with Crutchlow and Miller.
Pedrosa is on a
great
lap.
Watch for Folger. Personal best, not good enough though. Middle of the third row. This is all about grid position. These are the contenders for the front 4 rows of the grid. Zarco only 9th. Different bike. Switch bike. He's gone on to a different bike there.
3-run strategy then.
Could be. Either that or he just wants to try something that's a bit different on that second bike as well.
Second.
He was. He's just gone quicker.
But stayed second He had a big advantage in coming into the final sector, but didn't convert.
Rossi just not quite.
Not looking right, is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not where he wants to be, the fourth row of the grid, that's for sure.
We've got
Turn
9
one's
minutes,
a bit tricky here. Turn 1, when you all go rushing in there.
Yeah, followed by a hairpin of turn 2. It is very, very difficult on the first lap, them first 2 corners.
Another personal best for Vinales as he winds himself up. He's going to wind Scott Redding up if he blocks him off, that's for sure. So Redding, at the moment, bottom of the list, 4th row of the grid for Scott Redding. Here comes Marc Marquez into the braking area behind his teammate Dani Pedrosa.
Is this a fly, or is this his outlap?
This is his outlap. Change of bikes, that's not a check on the flag to flag, that's purely and simply because they've obviously got something else up their sleeve. Wants to have a quick look at the time he just did.
I love
Santi
it. No, I won't go
Hernandez.
out yet. I'll just check the time.
Santi Hernandez, well, you've got to have the right data, haven't you? But right now, he's just got in front of Dani Pedrosa. So, Marquez, what kind of time he's on your monitor, Jules? Oh, these two are just cruising.
They are.
This is cruising.
This is outlaps for...
well, he ain't going to learn anything about that second bike if he's going to go around at half pace.
He's on an outlap. Danny isn't.
I'm assuming Danny's going to come in.
That's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, there we go. So, Mark comes to the last corner on the circuit and will start a flying lap. Lines himself up for a big square off here. Did you see the way he was taking it wide on the way in?
Exactly, and checking that Pedrosa wasn't there. He was looking just to make sure.
Yeah, pretty cool kid, isn't he, at 23 years old. Into turn 1 then. Jorge Lorenzo takes a bit of juice on board. Paolo Chiabatti to the left of monitor, right of Lorenzo, looks on. Ooh. There are very few people in this world that have ever been close to riding a motorcycle, even fractionally near to the likes of this man. And that goes for the very, very best in the world on a motorcycle.
How he can jump on a different motorcycle. Oh.
That's the thing, isn't it? All of us, doesn't matter how close they are, technically, they're always different.
They feel slightly different. The way the front brake feels, the way the foot pegs feel, the seat, the suspension.
It's a different motorbike.
It's a different motorcycle. The electronics.
The way the motor feels, the way it picks up, everything.
So hard to be able to ride it right on the limit. This is one of...
How many times after testing did you come in and say, I want that motor in that chassis? Yeah. Between you, used to drive your mechanics nuts.
But Marquez is the only man I've ever seen be able to do that.
Yeah.
I can't think.
Particularly in these short, sharp lap situations where he's running 2 bikes for a 3-go session.
It looks like a three run strategy, doesn't
still
it?
6 minutes left to get that second run in on the other bike, the number 1 bike. Redding still putting the time in. That's a good time.
Really good lap.
Soft in the rear, medium in the front. He works it hard at the rear end, doesn't he?
Talk about steering it with the rear though through there. He got on the throttle so early. But the bike, it's the Ducati, it's long, it's low, it doesn't want to steer through them slow second gear corners.
He's pretty much aborted that lap. Yeah, he's aborted that lap so he can come in on his number 1 bike. I'll tell you what I was noticing with the Yamahas yesterday, particularly round those 3 right-handers in front of the big grandstand before you come to the end of the lap. When they're just rolling the throttle, as soon as they pop it back on again, it's like it's fully filled. It's a massive bang through the exhaust. Doesn't sound like it should work that way. Come on, boys.
Scott Redding up to 8th with that impressive lap.
Tell you what, there's quite a lot. That's a bit scruffy. Oh, they're smiling about it, so can't be too much to worry about in the Repsol Marquez
They weren't
side.
expecting him to come in, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
A lap earlier or whatever.
Yeah,
this is not working. Back to the first bike on new tyres.
Valentino taking a breather in the shade there for a moment. As we wait. It's warmed up a lot here, by the way. We haven't mentioned that. It has got a lot warmer out on track.
Valentino and Mark, I assume, waiting for that gap in traffic.
So, run number 2 for Valentino Rossi. He's got to pull something out of the bag here, otherwise he's going to start back on the 4th row of the grid.
And remember, Keith, he's been on the front row every race so far this year.
Yeah, and last year he was on the front row, pole position for him, and of course he won the race here last year, so great expectations are for Valentino Rossi.
I can't read my own writing on the roster, only on the front row for the first time last race out. Completely
all right, mate,
misread my notes.
I can tell you folks at home, when Julian makes the slightest of mistakes, he beats himself up more than any of these riders do when they make a mistake on the racetrack. It's actually quite funny when you're sitting there watching it, but of course it's not for Jules. Bless him. We love you, Jules. Right. Run number 2. Who's going where on the front 4 rows of the grid? Miller. He's having a good weekend.
This is the best dry qualifying performance we have ever seen from Jack Miller, whatever happens from now on.
And what about Lorenzo? The enigma that is Jorge Lorenzo.
But amazing.
amazing.
This track that Ducati doesn't work round, it's never worked round.
For anybody.
But he does.
He says, I don't care, I like the track, I'm going to make the difference.
That's
I love a man who can back it up.
That's a champion's attitude.
Yeah, it is. And this is front row pace.
Tell you what, good for Iannone.
I just realised Iannone's hanging on.
He's found himself a good marker, hasn't he, Iannone?
Nothing if not brave.
Chasing his old...
Just scrabbled through from Q1, Iannone.
Well, mainly because of the frustration he was showing. If he tidied himself up a fraction earlier, he might have set that time a little earlier.
Yeah.
But looking at the bike he would have been on is... Oh, I tell you what, he's quick into there. If that's a fraction... No, not too quick. He made that square off perfectly. He'll be right up behind the Ducati onto this front straight. This is where the Duke really should power its way away by a couple of yards. Only 5th, middle of the second row. Iannone is on that second row as well.
Crutchlow's just hammered through the first sector.
Zarco, what's he got going for us? Still on the 4th row, jumps up to the second row and pushes Crutchlow down onto the 3rd row, but Crutchlow's got a lap going at the moment. 2.5 minutes of this qualifying session for the front 4 rows of the grid. This is Cal Crutchlow on the LCR Honda. Come on, Cal. Pole position? I think one of us in here, not me, I must add, said that you could expect a pole.
Yeah.
Oh, down has gone Aleix. Aleix Espargaro has crashed out.
It's like turn 2.
Yep.
It is.
So Aleix Espargaro, that's a bad news as well, because there'll be yellow flags waved out there. So anyone that's got to go through there on a quick lap.
Doesn't include Cal Crutchlow, who is well past that point.
Well past that point. Look at this, he's still under. Come on, Cal. Pole position.
We said, it was me and Jules did say that he's been so on it all weekend, and you can sort of tell he's not done the ideal lap. This is looking like it.
The Hondas have been on it, and Cal has been right up there with Marquez and Pedrosa.
Used all of the curb, now he's into the braking area. He's got one more corner to do. Jorge Lorenzo corner it is. Back down the box. Gets it squared off. That's as good as it gets as far as that's concerned. Up onto the front straight now. It's a long drive, but nothing you can do except hang on the throttle. Does he go top? No, but he goes front row.
All Honda front row, which is what I was told
might happen.
Some people, ex-Honda employees, I might add, to expect. Rossi improves to 7th in front of Lorenzo.
Vinales. Oh, blimey. What happened there? I don't know. That looked like like a camera's loose on the back, which made it look like it was speeded up in our edit suite.
Here come the Repsols.
Yeah, well, they're already 1 and 2, and look at them now. They're putting red markers all over the place. So Marquez and Pedrosa, formation flying with Zarco behind them on the M1 Yamaha. Where's Zarco at the moment? Just on the 2nd row. Rossi back on the 3rd row, along with Lorenzo and Miller.
This lap won't help for Zarco, Keith. It's an out lap, I think.
Seti Gibber now at the back of the Repsol camp on Danny's side, quite literally, as Marquez makes the thing sit and buck and weave. Here comes Danny Pedrosa. Was he going to go pole? Yes, he does. 38.2. What about Marquez? No, it's Pedrosa at the moment on 38.2.
Last lap. This is the last lap
we've seen. Fastest lap we've seen. So Marquez is now really got to try. That was a bit of Jonathan Ray and Chaz.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Really,
Danny had
because Danny backed out of it and really mired Marc Marquez for another fast lap.
What's Vinales got? He's going to close. Can he split the Hondas? Is the question. Can he get on the front row?
Oh, Marquez got that first sector still, even though Danny was in his way. Look, he got a red marker up there in that first sector.
By a long way.
This is going to be really interesting. Marquez isn't going to be happy with anything other than pole. He's not going to be happy to see his teammate on pole, that's for sure. Here's Folger.
That Yamaha of Vinales is, several times we've seen it, it's nervous. Is that Valentino on the curb?
It is, Valentino up on the curb, out of the way.
So he's 7th at the best.
He's
3rd row.
3rd row, that's not great.
Valentino. Check the flags out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's it.
So Folger up to the line. What does Folger manage to do? Crutchlow stays 3rd, Folger stays 9th, so 3rd row for him as well. Marquez, he's still on a flyer. He wants that pole position, doesn't he? Yeah. Look at how hard he is trying. Caution to the wind as 23-year-old Marc Marquez is looking. Look at the state of that.
He lost a bit in the 3rd sector.
Tell you what, though.
Still
he looked spectacular.
Very quick.
Is he going to pinch this? Is his tyres left? That's the problem. Oh,
what?
Oh, dear me. On one of the fastest right-handers on the course. Has that done for his pole position prospect? We are going to find out in just about 75 yards as Marc Marquez comes onto the front straight. Pedrosa has got the provisional pole. Will it be Marquez's teammate that snatches it? No! It is Marquez that starts in the middle of the grid. Tell you what, with tyres pretty much worn, he threw everything at that, Neil.
He's in typical Marc Marquez fashion. Never knows when he's beat, never gives in.
That's the old caution, totally abandoned Marc Marquez.
That was back to, I'd rather crash than finish second.
2013
So this is what I've got.
Yeah.
That was everything.
Great for Dani Pedrosa, the number 2.
I am so pleased for Dani. I've never been so pleased with Dani Pedrosa to get a pole position.
In Jerez, at the Spanish Grand Prix. Yet again, he reminds any doubters.
Half a second underneath the race lap record, just a little outside of the fastest ever lap around here back in 2015, both of course belonging to Jorge Lorenzo. But Dani Pedrosa, job well done from his side of the garage. The whole attitude in that side is different this year for me. It just looks different. Seti Gibernau in there has been brought on as a spotter.
Interesting, it's not quite as smooth when the mechanics get the spanners out. They've not had the practice yet, but it works for Dani. And there is indeed a Honda front row, first, second, third.
Impressive stuff indeed. So, with qualifying done and the grid seemingly set, it is Dani Pedrosa on pole position. But this man threw everything at it, nearly the motorcycle. Watch this. Off the curb, it had already got out of control, and that lost him the time. From the commentary box, we're going to get our breath back now.
Well, you can't try any harder than that.
Do you know that must be about 130 or 140 miles an hour where that rear just came around on him just then. And he kept it pinned. He even cut the curb as well, and that penultimate, and just missed out on pole by what? 400ths of a second.
Well, it wasn't enough to catch the poleman, Dani Pedrosa, who has been off the dial all weekend, extraordinary. Although, when push comes to shove, you think that Marquez is going to take the pole, but today it's all about Dani Ped.
I don't know what they found in America, but the way that Dani's riding that Honda right now, it's like a changed man. It's like he's got tyres that are made for him. It's like the setting's been completely sorted on the bike for him. You know, considering how far he has been off on these Michelin tyres, he looks so confident now, and it's great to see as well.
It is. Looking at shots of the Yamahas, who really were not up there. And there's the Honda 1, 2, 3. Then you've got Vinales, Iannone, Zarco, Rossi on the third row tomorrow. That is not where he would want to start off.
Fourth and seventh, you know, championship leader. You know, third row, it's not a disaster really, because we know around here it is close. But you know, it just shows you that those Hondas, it's first, second, and third Hondas, with our very own Cal Crutchlow getting on the front row. What a lap as well from him. But the Yamahas don't look anywhere near as comfortable as the Honda, and the most comfortable Honda at the moment for me is Dani Pedrosa.
Well, let's have a look at Dani in action today then, because he deserves all the plaudits. Extraordinary style from this young man.
Yeah, this is the one of the penultimate final laps. I mean, Marquez couldn't even get a slipstream on the one that Dani Pedrosa qualified on pole position. I thought they'd be getting into the 37s today, but I think the temperature's just got up a little bit too much and the track's a bit slick for the 37s today. But 38.2, fantastic lap time. He's took the momentum that they got from America to here. And all weekend I've been seeing how easy he's been doing it as well. It's really, really encouraging for tomorrow's race for him.
Yeah, first pole since 2015, but his race setting looks good as well. You know, it's not just a one-lap flyer for Dani Pedrosa, is it?
He doesn't look like he's right at the edge of the limitations of what he's capable of. You know, other